Hello everyone, I'm Zach.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is Birkenbark.
We're so happy you're here to leave the old week behind and start the week new with some coffee, music, and conversation.
Yes, and today we are talking about something very big, but it's too hot to wear very fancy clothes. So we're going to be wearing...
Picture it grand.
This, but we're going to be talking about grand.
Grand.
Grand. Grand Opera.
It is quite big, Grand Opera. We have so much to say about it, including our coffee is a little bit grand today, our whole process.
That's right.
And so that is...
I think that's where we're going to start, actually, is we're going to start with the coffee, which is over here. We've seen this before, and you'll understand why we have chosen this in a little bit. So let's go. Let's go to our second set.
Here we go.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my
look
goodness,
at that.
here we are.
Oh wow. So we chose to do the siphon today. Do you want to hold up the little siphon to the camera?
Of course I do, it's my favorite part.
So we have chosen this today because it has an open flame.
Not the little one.
Not the little one.
Tiny siphon with its tiny little flame. It also comes with a very tiny spoon. It's adorable.
Yeah, so we've chosen this today because of the spectacle of it. So we get to see, ooh, it's burning. You may be able to see it at home, you may not.
See, I always have Zach do this one because I need an adult. I need some supervision. And the siphon, quite frankly, scares me. So, whenever we make coffee and Zach says, oh, how about we have the siphon? I know that he's going to make it for me.
So there you go. So, the way it works, if we hold up the little one, you see...
yes, I can do that. Okay, here we go. Yeah.
The water starts in the bottom.
Water starts.
In the bulb at the bottom. Boils up through the little tube to the top. You brew the coffee in the top. And then you take away the heat. And it pulls the warm water back down through into the bulb. So you end up with coffee grounds at the top and coffee at the bottom. Yum! We are going to be serving this café gourmand, which
what
is
does that mean?
Coffee with pastries. So,
oh, you changed it on me.
I did. I changed it on
me. Okay.
So there we are.
So we have some macarons today from a little bakery, a little French patisserie in Philadelphia called La Miel, which is
Miel.
Miel. Oh, it's just miel.
Miel.
Which is honey. It means honey, right?
So they have their door handles is a bee with its wings out. So you pull on the bee's wings to walk in the door. It's pretty great.
What do we have? We have pistachio, strawberry, cafe au lait, citron.
Very exciting.
Lemon poppy seed and cafe au lait. Haha, right? Did I get all this right?
Hazelnut.
Hazelnut. Did I say cafe au lait twice?
You did.
That one's hazelnut. My parents are right now, they're like, ugh, they hate hazelnut.
Ugh.
But I love it. I love it.
So, yeah. So, should we do some talking about
we're not
Grand Opera?
Oh, yes.
Because we gotta wait now.
That's true.
For the coffee
for
to do its thing.
See, grand things take a long time.
They do take a long
time.
They do. So should we talk about?
Let's dive in.
Cool. So Grand Opera. Yeah, we have notes for this one. Sometimes it's French Grand Opera or Grand Opéra because a lot of it is centered around the Parisian opera scene of the middle 19th century. And it's basically a collection of these extremely sumptuous opera pieces that share some very special characteristics.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, we have visuals for y'all. So exciting. Ready? Yay! So it consists of all singing. That's no dialogue from start to finish. It's normally based on dramatic historical events. They're often political in nature. They are usually 4 to 5 acts in length. I'm going to say that one again because, whoa. 4 to 5 acts in length.
And they ain't short acts.
No, they are not. They call for enormous forces, a lot of principal singers, a chorus, a very large chorus, a ballet, and a very large orchestra.
And the ballet is integral to the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's always certain pieces that are in a grand opera. There are ballets, marches and processions, lavish choruses, cavatina, cabaletta, scenas, and finales. We'll talk about a little bit about what some of those are and maybe why. You also get to hear some cavatina, cabaletta, scena, or later today. So this style of opera had its heyday from around 1830 through to the 1850s, and it was centered in Paris. So whereas a lot of regional theater companies now will send a delegate to New York City to go watch the Broadway season to see what they might be wanting to program in their own seasons in the next couple of years, that's what opera companies all around Europe did with Paris in that 20-25 year period, is that they sent people and composers went and they learned about what it was going to take to get an opera performed in Paris, because it was a big deal to get performed in Paris. There's a lot of money in it.
Clearly, you would need a lot of money.
So, when we look at these pieces, they might seem kind of weird. So this is a Degas painting of Robert le Diable. This is the ballet of the nuns, of the dead nuns. It's really sort of interesting.
It is crazy. This happens, I believe, in Act 4. I can't remember.
I think it is Act 4.
Act 4. I think it's 4. Anyway, so they're nuns, right? But, number one, like Zach said, they're they're ghost nuns. And two, they're celebrating, they're celebrating vices, like drinking and being promiscuous.
Lechery.
And yes, all that stuff.
Gluttony.
So it was very, and they were scantily clad nun ghosts. Oh boy, we're getting grand already.
But that seems crazy, because it doesn't really have anything to do with the plot.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And that's a big thing with these pieces. When you look at them with our modern eyes, they seem really bloated. They were expensive. They were dramatically stilted. And that was the prevailing wisdom at a lot of opera houses for a long time, from when they fell out of favor in the late 1900s, or late 19th century up through the middle of the 20th century. Most major opera houses, most major repertory theaters didn't have a grand opera, other than maybe Aida, in their stable. So why? I think what we ultimately have to think about is, what were they thinking? And why did they expend such effort and so much money creating these massive pieces? And we thought, in our research a little bit, there's a couple of reasons why that may be. So I'm actually going to stop this for a moment.
So you can see our faces.
Hello!
Hello!
And
lots to digest.
Yeah.
If you have questions, comments, pop them in that chat. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what you're thinking. If you have any questions about this crazy genre, pop them in the YouTube comments, and we will get to them.
Yeah, we will get to them.
Yeah.
So, one of the big reasons that these pieces became just big, just encrusted, ridiculous spectacles is because that's what people started to expect in Paris. The opera-going public had a specific thing that they wanted every time they went to the theater. They didn't want to show up for the first act because they wanted to have a long, lavish dinner. They wanted to show up and immediately see a ballet. Why did they want to see a ballet at the beginning of the second act? It wasn't because they wanted to see the ballet. It was because the fashion in Paris at that time was to liaise with the ballet dancers.
Liaise.
That's right. So, you kind of got to show off to your friends your favorite.
Gross.
Weird.
Yeah.
So, yeah, kind of strange. But another reason for the elaborate structures and the predictable progression of all of these pieces is because of the man who came to run the opera, the Paris Opera, l'Opéra, from 1831 to 1835. Let's see if I can get this set up the right way. Oh, we gotta go through them again. Here we go. There he is. Louis Désiré Véron.
He looks like a toad.
He does, and descriptions of him, contemporary descriptions of him are that he did look pretty funny. But he was a successful businessman who was a self-proclaimed neophyte when it came to music. Didn't know anything about music, but he knew how to sell tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And so what he came up with was a formula that involved a lot of spectacle, titillation, and that sold tickets. So, he made sure that popular components from these early grand operas showed up all the time. So the cavatina cabaletta scenas, the grand choruses, the procession marches, and of course, those second act ballets.
Mm-hmm.
They were required for a piece to even be considered by the Paris Opera for commission. Even after he stepped down in 1835, his formula was successful for several more decades, churning out operas such as Guillaume Tell, Robert le Diable, La Favorite, Les Martyrs, Charles VI, Don Sébastien, Marie Stuart, L'Étoile de Séville, Jérusalem, Le Prophète, and then the granddaddy of all grand operas, the one that is probably most synonymous with it, Huguenot. By Giacomo Meyerbeer.
Giacomo Meyerbeer. You may be thinking.
Yeah, so here are some, aside from one of these pictures, these are all renderings by the planning drawings for the original productions. The one from Aida is different, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. There we go. But I think we need to take a pause from this anyway, because I can hear...
Caffeine?
I can hear the water starting to boil.
Oh my goodness.
I know, it's very exciting.
Doing it.
Will you go grab a big spoon?
Yes.
Big wooden spoon.
Yes. Talk to the people.
While Rachel is doing that, I notice that this is starting to get hot. So, the hot water is going to push up through into the bell jar to make the most spectacular of all coffees. Truly, truly spectacular.
Which one do you want?
I'll take the wooden one.
Oh, okay.
The wooden spoon.
I guess this one would melt.
What's kind of neat about this way of making coffee is our other methods, we have a specific ground size that we use and a timing that we use. This one, you can use a short time and a small grounds, or you can use a longer time and you can use larger grounds. It doesn't seem to matter as much.
And it's a little bit unpredictable. Obviously, with an open flame, it's harder to control the temperature like this. And for most of our other methods, we'll pre-boil the coffee so that we can see what temperature we're at which we're boiling it, so that it's the right temperature as not to scald the coffee and get rid of those lovely flavors.
Yeah.
But this one is a little,
It's also kind of self-correcting a little bit, too. Like, once the water comes out of the bulb up into the jar at the top, it cools down a little bit.
Yeah.
And so it ends up being pretty much the perfect temperature and staying there for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to put this in. This is a sort of medium fine ground coffee. We're going to put it in for 45 seconds.
I gotcha.
On the heat. So I'm going to put it in. Let me know when I should go.
Okay, hold on. 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
No, I mean, hold on. Well,
I'm
are you going?
I'm ready.
You going? 3, 2, 1, go!
Thank you, places.
Places?
The coffee is in this place.
Oh, it is. 45 seconds to curtain.
Thank you, 45 seconds to curtain.
There are some things that, never die.
Here we go.
That's one of them.
So there's that.
So it's doing its thing.
How
brewing
wonderful.
Up at the top.
I'm so excited.
We get really excited about our coffee. If you couldn't tell from, the fact that we created a show partly around coffee and...
Coffee's so great!
Coffee's so great! We may have had a little bit earlier today.
How am I doing?
Good. You are at... 3, 2, 1, break!
Stir. All right.
Thanks for reminding me.
Oh.
I honestly would have just kept talking.
Okay.
So now it's all going into the... It's coming down into the...
I'm going to hold it up to the camera.
Oh my goodness. Whoa! Look at it go.
Wow. Coffee.
You're scary, my babe.
I am.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's the spectacle of it.
The spectacle.
So much fun. Alright. So there we go. So we'll let this finish doing its thing.
Awesome. Should we check in on some comments?
Let's see what other people have to say about Grand Opera. I'm going to make it as obnoxious as I possibly
Yeah, I've noticed.
Super fun.
Camera 2.
And I don't know why that's still on. Here we go. Hang on. And we're going to pause that. There we go.
Cool.
Let's see what you have to say.
Glad to see you back. Thank you, Frank. We're happy to be here. We're happy you're here with us, too. Oh.
I read that Wagner brought some of his works to the Grand Opera. Or he thought some of his work was Grand Opera. He did.
Oh,
he
Frank.
did. Actually, that comes in at the end of our little TED Talk here, for sure. Which is great. So, there we go. A lot of dead air. Sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry.
There you go. So we're going to have coffee here shortly.
Shall we continue our little lecture?
Let's
We're
keep
going.
going.
To singing. I promise.
We are.
It's a lot. So grand opera is a lot, and singing. These are grand pieces that are coming up. So we wanted to give you as much info as possible.
Yes, we did. So we'll take a look at some of these incredible costumes and sets. The one on the top left is actually from Aida that was done in 2011, I think, by the Israel National Opera. And they did it at Masada.
Yes, that's right.
Which is pretty exciting. Pretty cool.
Quite the backdrop.
Yeah.
Masada.
So, there is still some reason to do some of these pieces. Like, it still happens. And like we said, they fell out of favor for a good long while in the 19th and 20th centuries, but they're starting to make a comeback. And we kind of wonder why. Like, what about them might still speak to us today? So there was, near the end of their lifetime, there was new life breathed into the form by two of the greats, Giuseppe Verdi and Richard Wagner.
See, Frank, you were right on track with that.
Absolutely. And some of Wagner's successes in Paris came because he went back and revised Tannhäuser, I think, to add a ballet, because otherwise the opera wouldn't play it.
Mm-hmm.
His self-proclaimed perfect piece of music he needed to change, and he was not above doing it because of all the ticket sales he could get.
Oh yeah, major bucks
in Paris. So they took the dramatic and musical innovations of these two composers and their disciples ultimately brought us into late Romantic opera, Verismo, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they took these conventions that became kind of encrusted with, they're just static, and they brought them new life. But there's still some really cool, wonderful things about the pieces. They're weird. Some of them are just weird. And it's kind of wonderful.
Great. I mean, they're grand storylines, and they're grand opera. I want to say that differently. They're grand opera, but they're not necessarily these huge grand storylines, because you have to fit in a ballet. You have to fit in all of these larger than life things that sometimes the storyline can seem a little lackluster in comparison.
But I think that there are some parallels to one of the contemporary world's biggest art forms right now, and that is blockbuster cinema.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, do you go to watch a Marvel movie because you want to go see the story? I don't really.
Keep going.
Do you go for the special effects and to see your favorite actors in super mega HD on the screen and to watch explosions and to try to pick out the problems with the special effects and stuff like that? Absolutely. That's what we do.
Also, people don't get there till the second act in Grand Opera. That's why there are previews in movies. When was the last time you sat in a movie theater, number one? It's been a while. But number two, I usually do this. Sometimes I will forget which movie that I'm there to see because the previews have been so long. So then when it finally comes up on the screen, I'm like, all right,
that's very exciting.
What I came here to watch. Cool.
Movie theaters are now starting to have meals and things just available. Drinks, it's becoming more of a gathering with a movie that happens to be there. That's specifically designed for spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of money to do it. They garner a lot of money, and there are huge forces of people that make it all happen. So I think if we
Grand
go
Opera,
to, I think if we go to a Grand Opera, if somebody is programming Huguenot or Robert le Diable, or even something later like Don Carlo by Verdi, which is very much a big old grand opera ordeal.
Italian
piece,
Grand Opera.
Instead of going expecting to maybe fall in love with the characters, maybe we should go and think about being swept away by the spectacle and just look at all the wild, ridiculous crap that parades across the stage, including in Aida, usually an elephant. That's a thing.
And I always think, how did that get there? How?
Into
How did
New
this
York,
happen?
it just wandered on.
Yeah.
Just wandered into Manhattan.
It wandered in the desert?
It did. Yeah. Oh, hey.
Must be Jewish.
Pretty funny. Jewish elephant.
It wandered.
So, should we now drink some coffee and have some café gourmand?
Yes, we need to keep our strength up before we sing these truly massive pieces.
Yes, we do. So, why don't you talk about what yours is?
I will. Okay. So my piece is from Robert le Diable, as Zach was talking about, by Meyerbeer. That's where the Degas painting is from. It's from that show. In my aria, it comes in Act 4, after that ballet. This story is kind of crazy. Basically, Robert goes to get a magic branch that will make all of his wishes come true, including his marriage to Isabel, which is my character. But he knows that if he gets the magic branch, that he is damned to hell. Kind of a catch-22 there, right? So he grabs the magic branch and defends himself from something that I can't remember, to be honest.
Doesn't matter.
I know.
Does it really matter?
Doesn't. So then he goes in tears to Isabel saying, I need you in my life, but I don't know what to do because now I'm damned to hell. And Isabel is saying, you need to repent. This is basically her saying, you need to go and repent, grant yourself grace, grant me grace, and we're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work.
You want to sing it too?
Sure.
Is there anything that we should know about it? We talked about structure of these pieces. Is there anything that we need to know about how it's put together?
It doesn't follow the typical cavatina cavaletta because
And for those of you who don't know, that means there's a slow section that's very legato, very smooth, and then a fast section that usually is a related thought for the character, but maybe has more action behind it, and it tends to be peppier.
Prendi per me sei libero from Elixir by Donizetti is one of the prime examples of cavatina cavalletta. And it's anyway, I'm not going to go into that one because we're talking about something completely different.
I'm going to talk about that with mine.
Oh, I stole your thunder a little bit.
You did a little bit.
But this one, it has a very lengthy cavatina with little sections of cavalletta, and then the cavatina comes back in. So it doesn't quite follow that form, but there are elements in it for sure.
Another thing in this one, and you won't obviously be able to hear it because it's a piano backing track, but the orchestration changes and gets bigger and bigger and bigger as the thing goes on. It's pretty incredible.
As the soprano gets more and more tired, sure, just add other sections.
Let's sing over more instruments. That'll be fun.
So yeah, right. I'm gonna give it a go.
And enjoy.
lost my mind for a minute.
Whoa.
Oh, we're back on. Hello.
You lost your mind for a minute.
I did. I couldn't think of what, Oh my god, I forgot it again. You literally just said, thank you. You literally just said it to me. You know, with that long of a piece and then just the grandeur of it, you just lose your mind a little bit sometimes.
You do.
Yeah.
You really do.
Whew. It's getting hot up in here.
It is. You want to open the door again?
Yeah.
Alright. Want to talk about mine?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So my selection today is a cavatina cabaletta by Donizetti from his grand opera, La Favorite.
The favorite. Like
me. Or La Favorita, depending on whether you're doing it in French or Italian. This one was actually a fairly international piece, and this was not uncommon to have something premiere in Paris and then have it go and play in Germany, Switzerland, France, England, something else, you know, Sweden, and have it be done in each of the languages of the nation that they were in.
Mm-hmm.
So there are actually several translations of this opera. For some reason, this one especially has a lot of different versions, but I'm going to be doing it using the original libretto in French. Si.
Si.
And La Favorite is, again, just kind of a thin plot, but my goodness, the music from it. Holy crap. So Donizetti is really more well known for things like The Elixir of Love, Don Pasquale, things that are his earlier, smaller comic operas. He's not so well known for some of these grand operas that were written for Paris, but they're there, and they're something.
Yeah.
So, in this aria, King Alphonse is singing about La Favorite, Leonore, his paramour, they're having an affair. Yeah, and it's known. And she is the favorite. She is his favorite, hence the name of the opera. But he also knows, and she also knows, that this can't last forever. He's not really in love with her, and she's in fact, falling in love with somebody else, who was a monk, left the monastery. They fall in. For her? Yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy.
That's intense.
It's a lot. There's a lot there. So in this aria, which from relatively early in the opera, Alphonse is kind of weighing what it's going to mean to potentially let her go, and feeling very conflicted about that. So it is a cavatina cabaletta, so that means it starts with something that feels very out of time, and that is recitative. It's him mulling over his thoughts by himself. Then we get this beautiful, slow, in this case minor music, a short little transition, and then a much faster, much more upbeat major key music to finish it off. And that would be cavatina is the slow section, cabaletta is the fast section, and partly people found this emotionally appealing, probably in the same way that we find, I don't know, dialogue scenes in a movie emotionally appealing. There's a certain way that they're written to go from beginning to end in most cases, and that's very true of this. And it's definitely true that once a singer got to the cabaletta, you knew that there was going to be a transition coming, so maybe it was time to either get back to your seat from wherever you were, or to start to leave if this was the singer that you really wanted to see, and now you're, done with the opera for the day.
Because then operas were a very social thing to do, not sit in your seats, watch the opera, leave. And by the way, no unwrapped candies. In present day, back then they were eating dinner, they were socializing. It was a place to see and be seen.
They were gambling in a lot of places? Yeah.
Why do you think that grand operas were 5 acts long? We were hoping that you were going to absorb something in between the gambling and the dinner eating and all that stuff.
It's music that was there happening as part of a big, citywide party.
Good for those performers. Seriously, that would be rough.
It would be rough.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to hear this. In all its grandeur.
I'm excited to try to make it happen. We both learned these arias in under a week for this show, so
throughout this whole process, we've been able to sharpen how we learn music, and it's been very quickly and hopefully efficiently and thoroughly. But we missed some things here and there. It's a learning process that you're getting to see week after week.
Yep. So, Alphonse aria from La Favorite.
Courtisans dévorés par la vie, avec Rome formant une ligue ennemie. Ou contre mon amour dans l'ombre conspirer, mais moi seul, Léonore, seul je te mon amour brave, l'univers est Dieu, pour toi, à tes pieds je suis esclave, mais l'amant c'est le roi. Rien ne peut finir l'ivresse de mes jours, et au tien, pour toujours, belle maîtresse, pour toujours, tu m'appartiens, pour toujours, oh, rien ne peut finir l'ivresse de mes jours, et au tien, pour toujours, belle maîtresse, pour toujours, tu m'appartiens, pour toujours, tu m'appartiens. Tu m'appartiens. Léonore, viens, je te donne ma tête et ma couronne. Viens. Rien par moi n'est regretté s'il me reste ta beauté. Ah, Léonore, mon amour brave, l'univers c'est Dieu, pour toi, à tes pieds je suis esclave, mais l'amant laisse le roi. Rien ne peut finir l'ivresse de mes jours, et au tien, pour toujours, belle maîtresse, pour toujours, tu m'appartiens, pour toujours, oh, rien ne peut finir l'ivresse de mes jolis et au tien, et pour toujours, tu m'appartiens, oui, pour toujours, tu m'appartiens. Léonore, tu m'appartiens, oh, pour toujours, tu m'appartiens. Léonore, tu m'appartiens.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you need some coffee after that one because
there we go. Angry
whoa!
King. Angry King. And for this week, if you noticed in the description, we actually put the translations for the arias that we sang in the comments already, or in the description already.
If you want to go back and look at the translations and watch it, awesome.
Yeah, the Robert le Diable had the French. Thank goodness the other one has the Italian because there were some issues with the French that you just heard. But the translation is correct in both cases. So, there we go.
Yeah.
So, okay. Grand Opera in a nutshell.
Grand Opera.
And you're out of here in much less than 4 hours, 5 hours. But yeah.
That's right.
That's right. So we can thank all of these people that blazed the trail with Grand Opera for things that we understand now as modern performance art. But maybe we don't need to go see one anytime soon.
They're often, Zach and I were talking, well, what do we do with them now? They're often used as excerpts, done in a concert setting on a much more accessible scale, instead of having to do elephants on stage and all that kind of goodness.
That's right. That's right. So, thank goodness they're not there. But thank you all for hanging out with us this afternoon. Sorry, that was a lot of singing. I'm like,
I can take over if
I'm
you
done.
want.
All right, so should we talk? Should we
Yeah.
say thank you to the people.
Thank you to the people. Thank you to the people. So while we don't operate on a grand opera scale, we do operate thanks to the Patreon members that we do have, and of course for your constant efforts in sharing our page and telling people about Perk and Bark and showing up every week. We truly would not have a show without you. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much. Please continue to watch, to comment, to tell people and share Perk and Bark. We wanted to create a community where we could share some music where there otherwise would not be. More pandemic creation, but we want to keep it going. So please share. And if you would like to also participate in our Patreon page, you can join us at www.patreon.com/perkandbark. You can do so with as little as a $5 donation monthly, if that's within your means. And if you want to, Patreon members get to know about our themes first. We're compiling all of our arias to go on there, and there are some little coffee recipes and videos and things like some good stuff on there. Some good bonus footage.
Some good bonus footage. Yeah.
That one took it out of Zach. If you can't tell.
As a baritone, I don't get to do a lot of cavatina cavalettas.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my things are short and sweet, and they end on a high note. This one is long and had a lot of emotions, a lot more emotional journey than an aria. Most arias that I sing. So it was like, okay, here we go, we're done.
As Zach recovers, if you have a theme suggestion, anything you want to see on the show, you can shoot us an email, pop it in the comments on this video, on our Facebook page. We are very reachable, so make sure you let us know what you want to see, and we will try to incorporate it. In the meantime, have a wonderful week, and we will see you soon.
Yes,
Thanks,
we will.
everybody.
Thank you.